Imagine a future where your life is a testament to God's grace, where you are not just living, but truly thriving, impacting your world with unwavering faith and intentional action. This journey of transformation, this divine blueprint for your life, is waiting for you to step into it fully. If this message has stirred your spirit, if you believe in the power of faith-filled action, then I invite you to join us on this path. Share this message with someone who needs to hear it today, and let us know in the comments how God is moving in your life. Your story could be the spark that ignites someone else's flame. Let's build this legacy of light together. Your greatest blessing might be hidden behind your deepest pain. And today, we're going to look directly at it, not to shy away, but to understand its profound purpose. You see, the world often tells us to avoid discomfort, to seek ease, to run from anything that challenges our peace. But what if that very discomfort, that gnawing fear, that seemingly insurmountable obstacle, is not a curse but a divine invitation? An invitation to a strength you never knew you possessed, a resilience forged in fire, a purpose that can only crystallize when you're pushed to your absolute limits. We are often looking for a way around the struggle, when the truth is, the struggle itself is the path. It's in those moments when you feel invisible, when the effort seems futile, when the applause is absent, that your true character is not only revealed, but actively built. This isn't about mere motivation. It's about a spiritual reorientation, a profound shift in how you perceive the trials that inevitably arrive at your doorstep. We're talking about a transformation that moves beyond fleeting inspiration and plants deep roots of unshakable discipline and faith, empowering you to not just face your challenges, but to truly conquer them. Many of us find ourselves caught in a cycle, don't we? We pray for strength, for guidance, for a way out of our struggles. Yet when the moment of truth arrives, when the pressure mounts and the path forward is obscured, we often default to old habits, procrastination, doubt, a reliance on external validation that never truly satisfies. We diagnose our problems as external, as if a change in circumstances will magically transform our inner world. But the deeper truth, the one we often resist, is that the real work begins within. The real transformation isn't about changing your situation. It's about changing your response to it. It's about recognizing that the very challenges you face are the spiritual weights in your life's gym, designed not to break you, but to build an unshakable inner core. This journey isn't for the faint of heart, but it is for the faithful. It requires a radical commitment to self-mastery, not out of pride, but out of a deep understanding that you are an architect of your own soul, building your future brick by brick, with God as your master builder. Are you ready to stop waiting for conditions to be perfect and start building right now with the materials you have been given? If this message resonates with your spirit, if you're ready to dig deeper and unlock a resilience you never knew you possessed, then I invite you to join this community. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Tell us what challenge you're facing today, and let's walk this path of transformation together. Your engagement fuels this mission, helping us reach more hearts seeking true, lasting strength. Consider the story of David, a brilliant software engineer who, at 48, found his world turned upside down. He'd dedicated 2 decades to a tech company, rising through the ranks, his identity deeply intertwined with his professional success. Then, without warning, the company restructured, and David, along with hundreds of others, was laid off. The initial shock quickly gave way to a creeping sense of worthlessness. He'd always prided himself on his work ethic, on being indispensable. Now he felt like a relic, a disposable part of a machine that had moved on without him. This wasn't just a job loss. It was an identity crisis, a profound obstacle that chipped away at his spirit. He spent weeks in a fog, scrolling through job boards, feeling utterly defeated, convinced his best days were behind him. His faith, once a steady anchor, felt distant, like a faint signal he could no longer tune into. He'd pray, but the words felt hollow, bouncing off the ceiling. He saw the obstacle not as a challenge, but as an indictment. How many of us, when faced with such an unexpected blow, retreat into despair, allowing the external circumstance to define our internal reality? We often think that overcoming an obstacle means removing it, but sometimes the true overcoming comes from within, from a shift in perspective that allows us to see the obstacle not as a wall, but as a staircase. David's biggest obstacle wasn't the job loss itself. It was the story he was telling himself about it. He believed he was a victim of circumstance, and that belief paralyzed him. He waited for inspiration, for a sign, for someone to rescue him. But the surprising revelation came not from an external source, but from a quiet, internal whisper during a sleepless night. He remembered a verse, not one commonly quoted, but one that resonated deeply. Though a righteous person falls 7 times, they rise again. Proverbs 24:16. It wasn't about avoiding the fall, it was about the guaranteed rising. This wasn't a promise of an easy life, but of relentless resilience. David realized his reliance on external validation, on the job title, on the company's approval, had created a fragile foundation. The true strength wasn't in never falling, but in the unwavering commitment to get back up. This revelation shifted his focus from the external blow to his internal response. He began to see his situation not as a dead end, but as a forced redirection, a painful but necessary recalibration. This practical application meant he stopped waiting for motivation to strike and started scheduling his job search like a full-time job, even when he felt drained. He began to apply for positions outside his comfort zone, attending networking events he once would have dismissed. He wasn't just looking for a job, he was rebuilding his self-worth, brick by painful brick. This was David's spiritual turning point. It wasn't a sudden burst of divine intervention that removed his problems. It was a profound shift in his understanding of God's presence in his problems. The central biblical truth he grasped was that true strength isn't the absence of weakness, but the willingness to be strengthened through weakness. He recalled 2 Corinthians 4:8-9. We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. This wasn't a call to a life free of struggle, but a divine promise of endurance within it. David stopped seeing his situation as God's abandonment and started seeing it as a refining fire. Just as gold is purified by intense heat, his character was being refined. The discomfort wasn't punishment, it was purification. This inner transformation wasn't instantaneous, but it was fundamental. He began to pray, not just for a job, but for the strength to endure the search, for the wisdom to learn from rejection, and for the faith to trust in a path he couldn't yet see. He understood that God wasn't necessarily going to remove the mountain, but was giving him the tools and the tenacity to climb it, one difficult step at a time. This was a deeper level of faith, one that wasn't dependent on favorable circumstances, but on the unwavering character of God. With this new perspective, David's actions began to change. He still faced rejections, still had moments of doubt, but now he had a different internal narrative. He understood that every no was not a personal failure, but a redirection, a chance to refine his approach, to learn more about himself. He started volunteering his time, using his skills to help a small nonprofit, not for a paycheck, but for purpose. This act of service, born out of a desire to contribute rather than just receive, brought him a profound sense of meaning that his old job title never could. He discovered that true fulfillment wasn't found in what he gained, but in what he gave, even when he felt he had little to offer. This was a powerful testimony not just to others, but to himself. He began to see that his worth wasn't tied to his employment status, but to his inherent value as a child of God, capable of incredible resilience. This expansive application of his faith spilled over into other areas of his life. He started exercising regularly, not just for physical health, but as a discipline that mirrored his spiritual journey. He began reading more, learning new skills, pushing himself in small, consistent ways. The man who had been defined by his job title was now being redefined by his unshakable spirit, a spirit forged in the crucible of adversity. The journey David embarked on, and the one we are called to, isn't about grand, sweeping gestures, but about consistent daily choices.
The first practical step is to embrace the discomfort. When you feel the urge to procrastinate, to scroll aimlessly, to numb the pain, choose instead to lean into it. See it as your spiritual gym moment. The second step is radical self-responsibility.
Stop waiting for external conditions to change. You are the architect of your own future, and today's choices are the bricks you lay. Choose discipline over fleeting motivation. Choose action over contemplation.